The most important thing to know that I've discovered and that is so wonderful from teachers is that every thing, person, day, time in all of creation, past, present, and future, all has intent and purpose. So, what that means is an amazing thing that this A, B, and C idea that I could have depression modes, flows, where I can be really stuck in a particular place, all has intentionality. In other words, it has meaning, purpose, and it's not for no reason, which means there's something important, fulfilling, and good that could be present even there. And what I would like to do is share with you over time ways that we might be able to dig and find that. Because with that tethered to the good, to something beyond, we feel great. And not, we're lost in an abyss. And so even in a dark place, in a low place, in a dungeon, we see that maybe even God can be found there. Was reading in it's in the other room, but basically Rabbi Shlomo Eliezer Schick said that we have to remember that even in the dark places where we feel disconnected, that God can even be found there, and that we could search for God there, and that search itself is meaningful, and that searching for the beyond, for the divine, for the there's more. Let's search for there's more than this empty experience, this disconnected, broken experience. And it's very hard, but very worth it. And we need to not give up. And in order to not give up, we may need to strengthen each other. So we can work together. We can work on doing that. Emotional reasoning is one of the 10 distortion categories in the Beck's, Aaron and Judy Beck's system of cognitive therapy. I like to call them reality filters or cognitive distortion filters. So like magnification, there's a 10% chance I'm going to get fired, and I experience it like it's 80%. And the one really tricky one is this, what I call number 9, is that it is true because I feel it's true. So I always think of somebody like who's very intuitive or very empathic, and they say, I know that's a bad guy. How do you know? Because I can feel it. Now, maybe it's true. Maybe it's gut instinct and a person is perceiving something very real. On the other hand, maybe my guts are nuts. And this person has a bad piece, but never will, and so on and so forth. Is capable, but never did, has a past. Like, who knows? But either way, how do we know what is? I know that I'm in danger because I feel that I'm in danger. Not because of some logical calculation. Now, why am I telling you that? Because if you think about our thoughts and experiences through the experiences of anxiety and depression flows, you're trying to surf and stay on the surface of depression and anxiety, there's a very important thing. Am I going to define the greater reality with a capital R based on my emotional experience? Because I feel that there's no God here, there is no God here. Because there doesn't feel anything more than an empty nothingness surrounding me, and I'm in it, and I'm fully disconnected, that means that that's what is. In other words, I'm defining the truth of what is by my own experience. And from the very experience of that, I'm defining what is, which is important sometimes to take seriously what we're experiencing and work with it. But that is so dangerous. That is so, so dangerous. And in this week's study of the 5 books of Moses, the Moshe, the Chumash, we learn about a very interesting character named Korach. I don't know how you say it in English, Korach. And he was the first, I think, to really rebel in a big way against the new Jewish path that came out of the Mount Sinai experience. And he judged based on his own perception around him in a few different areas that his logic was superior. And through his logic, he was correct about what God wanted and said. Really, in the end, he didn't believe in any of it. He sort of ended up denying all spirituality. He just wanted to use it for his own advantage. In fact, I would say he's the first I've learned about in spiritual history of someone who didn't believe in any of it, but was quite educated and wise and was using it just for their own advantage. The first corrupt religionist, if you will. I think maybe Aesop was another one who pretended to be, but he was more clear because he sort of showed his colors, if you will, by all his external actions, where Korach didn't. And ultimately he got swallowed up by the ground. And he was really in his own investigation. He's characterized by investigative analysis based on my own perception. And so what we need to know is that investigative analysis on my own perception, first of all, creates paralysis by analysis. Secondly, we all end up hitting a wall, meaning at some point, important questions, we get to a place where it's, I can't know the answer. I don't know the answer. I won't be able to know the answer right now. And if you're simple-minded like me and things are just simpler, then it's after 20 pages. If you're smart, then maybe it's after determined, it's 80 pages. And if you're a genius, it's after 1,142 pages. But guess what? Either way, you hit a wall where like unknown, and I have to make a decision what you're going to believe. But if I'm believing it based on my own perception, then I'm going to get into trouble. Well, if I believed everything on my own perception, I wouldn't believe in cell phones. I would think it's hogwash. I mean, I see a cell phone working, that might help. I don't see any waves going through the room, microwaves, this wave, that wave, and yet they're there. Okay, well, they're perceptible. Well, what about things that work that we don't know how they work? Isn't there anything that anyone has ever seen or experienced that you didn't, and then later you came to see that it did? So to bring it back home, what we're saying is that just because I've been experiencing regularly a lot of suffering and disconnection does not mean that that is the definition of reality. It means that that's the reality I'm experiencing. And the question is, do I want to fall into the trap? The Korach, he got swallowed up by a hole in the ground. Him and his 250 followers, I believe, I'll have to check, but for sure him. And all his stuff, which is sort of metaphoric to, if I go down this path, I'm going to get swallowed up by materiality. I have to know, and if I want to know about mechanical cars and engineers and electrical things and digital things, I need to go to the people who know about that. And if we go to the people who have reliable information about what they've experienced, what they've learned from their traditions, their insights, their discoveries, we will see that one thing that 90% of the world possibly believes is in a beyond. In fact, it's kind of hard to find if you take a big sample of people who don't believe in the beyond. And in fact, when the lights get turned on and we go back to an 8A, almost everyone that I'm working with, if you're watching this video, believes in the beyond, believes in the more, both inside themselves that there's more, and both in life that there's more. And so I want you to take the opportunity to strengthen this at this time and say that every day, no matter what we experience, no matter what you're experiencing, that not to give up and to know that whatever you're experiencing is not necessarily the definition of reality, and it could be that your eyes are limited. And just to say to oneself, is it possible? So two tools. Is it possible? I could offer right now. Is it possible that what I'm experiencing right now is not the definition of what is? And number two, even though I'm experiencing no God, no more, no beyond, just suffering, even though I'm experiencing that, that's not the truth. I'm just stuck for now. So I hope that's helpful, and I wish you a beautiful weekend. Hello.